Hello, race fans, and welcome to Disc Golf Daily. It is Wednesday, June 19th. Stay tuned after the news for our PDGA growth numbers, which are a mix, but when combined with the course growth that we heard from yesterday, overall, they look good to me. Our number one news story of the day, Kevin Jones leaving Prodigy. On Kevin Jones's Instagram post, he writes, "Goodbye, Prodigy. It's been a fun 5.5 years. If you picked up a reverb, distortion, or feedback to support me, I want to give you a huge thank you. Your support is huge." All caps. In the meantime, my website is going to be 60% off all discs when you use the code 2024KJ at checkout. See if there's anything you like. Exciting news coming soon. And when I did a little research, the most exciting thing to me about this is that even Drew Gibson doesn't know what the big announcement is going to be. Presuming he leaves, he will join an impressive roster of ex-Prodigy players. Gannon Burr, Chris Dickerson, Matt Oram, Katrina Allen, Alden Harris, Gavin Babcock, and that's just recently. That is indeed an impressive list of people that have left Prodigy. Our number two news story of the day, Paul Ulibarri opens up about some of the money he's been earning. This comes to me from the players meeting. If you don't read the players meeting, you really should. Charlie keeps it interesting and on point. He's kind of the Disc Golf Daily of blogs, except he writes better, he's probably taller, and he's only once a week. Anyway, Paul Ulibarri gave us a peek behind the curtain into some sponsorship numbers. In his early years at Innova, there was a huge bonus program with a points race, with ratings. By the end of the season, if he had good performances, he could make big bonuses. 2013 to 2018, Paul was with Prodigy, just like a lot of other people. His monthly income was between $1,000 and $1,500 per year. At the time, pretty good money in disc golf. $100 a month also from Grip. 2019 to 2021, he moved over to Discraft, where he remains. He had the same monthly income and no signing bonus, although he did get the Signature Series Raptor sales also. And from 2022 to the current day, he is a part of the Icon team. He's co-captain of the team. He gets his Captain Raptor sales, and many third parties are also sponsoring him, Jomez, Power, Zuka, etc. The final thing he mentioned, this is interesting, was his tour winnings make up 5 to 10% of his total income. So doing some very simple math, last year he won about $17,500 on tour. We're guessing he makes between $175,000 and $350,000. Not too bad for one of the hardest workers on tour. Thanks for sharing, Paul. It really is interesting, and we all really do love you. Thanks to Bangarang Disc for putting together this chart. The comparison here is participation versus payout. Always an interesting comparison, and I often go to Bangarang Disc because they look deeper into stuff. According to their study, participation shrank by about 4% and payout went up by about 4%. Granted, it is a small sample size, but it's still a great chart, really easy to see. The one clear issue that I have with this is that when you look at overall player drop, there were about 37 less players that played in the 8 or 9 events that he has listed. 27 of those 37 players of the drop in participation occurred in the very first event. When you compare Las Vegas Challenge versus the Chess.com Open, Las Vegas Challenge is known to be a player-heavy event. Chess is obviously not. So when 2/3 of the drop is made up at one event, which was a new type of event, it feels like we're basically flat on participation, which actually sounds about right. Because when events are basically full each weekend, the difference is going to be how many players the event wants to let in. And maybe we're letting in about 1% less. I'm personally okay with that. I'd like all of us commoners to know that everyone playing in a Pro Tour event is legit. I'm also glad that payouts continue to climb, even with less pay in. That is a good sign overall that the sport continues to grow from the investment side. Our number 3 story, the World Disc Hall of Fame adds some new members, their class of 2024. Congrats to Chris O'Cleary, Mike Hughes, Scott Stokely, Leonard Muse, and Terry Calhoun. This is an impressive Hall of Fame class. Congrats to every one of them, and thank you to each of them for helping to make disc golf as great as it is. And that brings us to PDGA growth. We go over earnings, we go over membership growth, we go over attendance growth, we go over approval growth. Here we go. All things PDGA growth-wise. In PDGA earnings, Nicholas Antala moves up into second place. Gannon Burr still sits at 67,000. Nicholas Antala is at 52,000. And Anthony Barella is at 46,000. Owen Scoggins, 36,000. Although, interestingly enough, this doesn't include the 1,500 that she earned at winning Pro Masters. I'm not 100% sure whether it should, because this is tour earnings, and that's outside the tour. But yeah, anyway, I got to figure that out. Email me if you think we should include her money or if we should keep it as tour earnings. Evelina Salonen closes the gap. She's at 35.5, and Kristen Tatar is at 32.7. And that is it for the top three men and women earnings. As far as earnings at each event, Gannon Burr still has the most money earned at events at 4,200. Kristen Tatar's 4,100. When we look at the cash line of the Turku Open, it makes sense. It was mostly Europeans playing. On the women's side, the cash line was 915, the same as the Copenhagen Open. And on the men's side, the cash line was 1,004, which was quite a bit better than the 999 needed at the Copenhagen Open on the men's side. And yes, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce Copenhagen or Copenhagen. Hagen-Dazs, maybe it's Copenhagen. When we look at the top 20 earners, comparing 2023 top 20 earners to 2024 top 20 earners, 2023 is in fact closing the gap, because these are the people who did best over the end of this, over the whole season, and we'll see how this goes. It's going to be close. They're at 446, and this year, 2024, we're at 600. Just over 600,000. We're about 29% ahead. About a month ago, we were about 40% ahead. So definitely 2023 is closing the gap, as we would expect. PDGA disc approvals is actually going the other way around. 2024 started out much slower, was actually 50% behind. We are now just 20% behind. There have been 162 discs and baskets approved at this point in 2023. And at this point in 2024, there's been 120 approved. PDGA event growth, we are 1% above 2023. We've got 5,189 events so far in 2024 versus 5,117 events in 2023. So basically a tie. As far as event attendance, though, 2024 is down about 4%. Again, that's an improvement over where we've been traditionally throughout the year. I think as we get into the summer, things are we're getting more and more people at events. So we might be able to catch up to 2023's numbers. We shall see. The total number of rounds played, this is interesting. Just under 300,000 rounds have been played in PDGA events at this point in 2023. We're just around 279,000 so far this year. So we've got a little room to go. PDGA membership is down about 3.5%. At this point last year, we had, total last year, we had 137,000. I'm estimating we'll have about 132,000 by the end of the year. And that does it for us today. When we combine these PDGA growth numbers with the UDisc growth numbers that show courses growing at about an 8% rate, which is an improvement, overall, I feel pretty good about the disc golf maintaining its growth rate. We had the boom in the COVID years. I think we're in a flat line for the next 1 to 2 years. And then in 2027, the end of 2027, 2028, I believe we will go back to our 10 to 15% growth. That does it for us today. Thank you for listening. If you have any thoughts, news, or opinions, shoot us an email, discgolfdaily@aol.com. Otherwise, have fun. Always have fun. Throw them straight tell your friends about Disc Golf Daily, and hit the thin gap. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. It really does help us grow.